Okay, so we're back again. I'm so sorry that I have to divide this into a different segment. Most likely we will do it in 25 minutes or below 30 minutes every segment because of the slow technology that we have. It's hard to upload and save, and so we have to do like this. So to start again the third segment, we have here a question: which of the following is true about LTO, so Land Transportation Office? So it means what among the following do you think is the function of the LTO? Are they going to pass the law? Are they going to issue franchises? Will they arrest criminals, or are they going to issue driver's licenses? So which one here is their function? What? So obviously, of course, you know that they issue driver's license. So the rest, of course, there are other agencies of the government who do this kind of responsibility. So this is how I'm going to start our lesson. So let's move on. What else we need to discuss in here? Okay, so we'll talk about LTO, a very controversial, popular agency of the government. Don't forget that this is under the responsibility of one agency, which is the Department of Transportation, originally known as Department of Transportation and Communication, but lately they changed it to Department of Transportation. So one of the agencies under it is Land Transportation Office. As I've said, one of their functions is issue licenses. And what else? Where else can you register your vehicle other than LTO? So that is their job. It's where you will register your car. And what else they do? Of course, they also inspect vehicles. So upon registration, they will inspect your car. If your car is following what is in your certificate of registration, because every car is described in a document, and if your document is different from what is in your car, for example, the color alone, if your car is white as described in your document, but you change it to black and you did not inform the LTO and have it be registered, then that is already violation of the rules. So they inspect it, particularly the different make of your vehicle. So for example, you have a 4x4 and then you convert it into a jeepney type formation of car, so you have to register that. What else? Of course, they also give driver's licenses. They are the ones supervising conduct of examinations. They suspend also license, and then they revoke also license depending on the violations. So it's the LTO who does that. And then they are the one publishing stolen or wanted vehicles to the police because they have limited manpower. So what they do is they will ask the help of the police whenever there is a carnapped vehicles or missing vehicles. So that is Land Transportation Office. And then let's also talk about driver's license. So I know that many of you are also familiar with this, but let's try to review them. So for a student permit, what you should know here is what are the requirements before you will be given a permit to drive. And remember that a student permit is not a license. So the name here, driver's license, does not include a student permit. Lately, due to the result of the survey, where most drivers actually do not know what we call as defensive driving, and so our Department of Transportation made a memorandum that those who are aspiring to be given with a student permit must have to undergo how many hours? 15 hours theoretical driving lessons before they will be issued a student permit. And not only that, there is also examination being given by driving school, and if you failed, of course they will not give you, but if you pass, then the next is you go to L.T.O, and then they will give you the student permit. So as usual, the requirement here is that you must present to the L.T.O your PSA birth certificate. So that's the requirement, and the purpose of why they are requiring those aspiring to be drivers, especially the student driver, is that they wanted that every driver should not only be equipped with skills, but they should also be equipped with discipline and be familiar with our traffic rules and regulations. So for example, what are the meaning of the dozens and dozens of traffic signs on the road? So many of the drivers actually do not know them. Like for example, the meaning of the white dotted line or yellow line on the road. Those are not being lectured by the professional drivers for those who are aspiring to be a student driver. That's why they decided to require a theoretical lesson first. And also the purpose of that 15 hours is for the student driver to be taught with defensive driving, meaning how can we avoid accidents, how can we avoid cramming, and then we should also have the highest level of discipline, and that is part of the theoretical lessons they will teach you in the student driving lessons. Then after which, after a year, that student permit will be will expire, and then you have to apply again for another student permit if you are not able to apply for the non-professional license. So if you are going to apply for non-professional license, then it only takes you a month. So once you have a student permit, after 1 month, you may now apply for non-professional license. However, one of the requirements for the non-professional is you must also finish at least 6 hours practical driving lessons. 8 hours practical driving lessons. So you must enroll and get a certificate. If you don't have that certificate, even if you know how to drive, then you will not be issued with non-professional driver's license. And take note and remember that for non-professionals, generally it is defined as license given to those who wanted to drive less than 4,500 kilograms motor vehicle. So mostly for a private vehicle. If you drive only private car less than 4,500 kilograms gross, then non-professional driver's license is already good for you. But if you want immediately to have the professional driver's license, then you wait for 6 months before you can apply for it, for a professional driver's license. And then what is the difference between non-professional? The general difference is For the professional, you can drive public utility vehicle, and meaning you can drive jeepney or taxi. So if you're aspiring to be taxi driver, then you need to acquire professional driver's license. So those are the difference. And then another thing that you must remember also here is for the non-proof, you only need to have 40 points over 50 before you can pass, while for professional drivers, you must have at least 50 score over 60. So that's the passing score, right? Okay, so another one that we need to talk about. Okay, so I have here first question. What is this? It deals mostly on the implementation and enforcement of traffic laws and rules and regulation. So if you look at this one, these are the traffic is, except the court. So which one here has a job of implementing and enforcing traffic laws? Obviously, because our answer here is traffic enforcement. So meaning we have already finished with the two traffic is, or traffic pillars, traffic engineering and traffic education. So we will now go to the traffic enforcement. So what is this pillar of traffic? The traffic enforcement. Okay, so let's wait for a while. Right, what is this all about? So what is taking it so long? Okay, so we have here, there you are, traffic enforcement. So enforcing traffic rules. So this field deals mostly on the implementation and enforcement of traffic laws and rules and regulations. So they implement traffic laws. The question is, who are these agency of the government implementing the traffic rules? Okay, first is LTFRB. So LTFRB is also part of the enforcement body. What do they do? Of course, they are the one who is adjusting, deciding on transport fares. It's not L.T.O who is going to decide as to how much is the increase of the fare. And then they also issue franchise, so it's not licensed. So LTFRB has the main job. One is they adjust fares and then they issue franchise. So if you want to have a taxi or you want to have a jeepney for Buddha, then where will you go? You go to LTFRB. If you want to have a license to drive and you want to register your car, you don't go to LTFRB, you go to L.T.O. So that's the difference between LTFRB and L.T.O. So L.T.O is also one of the enforcement body, by the way. So what else do we need to know about traffic enforcement? So what I'm trying to point out here is when we say traffic enforcement, there are many of them. L.T.O is one, then LTFRB is also one. The only difference is for the L.T.O and LTFRB, they are under Department of Transportation, while the law enforcement body is under the ILG. So different agency of the government. What else are other agencies under the enforcement body? So we have also legislation. So legislation is part of the enforcement body. Although the job of the legislation is to create laws, but they belong to here, other agency. So we don't have laws or ordinances if there are no legislative body. So that's their job. They make laws, they make ordinances, related to traffic. So what else? Of course, the police are the direct enforcement. They are the one who is commonly the enforcing traffic laws, although it should be the job of the LTO, but they lack manpower. In Metro Manila, for example, it's the MMDA, but they lack manpower too. That's why police will always be there to assist them. What else? Yeah, that's it. In Metro Manila, the primary enforcer of traffic laws are the personnel of MMDA, right? And they issue a different kind of ticket. So these are the major agencies that are enforcing traffic laws. What else? Okay, so later on in the coming topics, of course, we will be going back to some of the enforcement pillar, because actually that is the primary pillar of traffic management that every criminology graduates or students should learn. The fourth pillar that we need also to know is traffic ecology, or called environment, otherwise known as environment. So this is included because, as we know, there are already a lot of effect of flow of traffic in our environment. What we know is traffic problem causes only lives by accident, but the truth is it has also environmental effect. That's why the experts included traffic ecology or environment as pillar also. So what's the job of this pillar? What is in here? So first is it concerned with maintaining cleanliness in the air, particularly cleanliness on the road. So that is why we have the Clean Air Act as the main law that governs mostly of the effect of traffic in our environment. So that Clean Air Act requires every motor vehicle to practice cleanliness, particularly in smoke belching. So that's why every motor vehicle, before they will be registered, should pass first the smoke test, because we know that smoke destroys our air, destroys our environment. So that's why ecology is there to balance it. Now, one of the effects of the smoke coming from the motor vehicle is the production of the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. So meaning there are gases coming from motor vehicles like the smoke, and what happened is instead of escaping in our atmosphere, this smoke is trapped. They are trapped here, and then when they are trapped, this one becomes thicker and thicker, and then what happened is the heat of the sun could no longer escape, and it makes our earth hotter. So we need this gas, because if we don't have this gas, then our earth would be cold, but it's too much already. So that is what we call as greenhouse effect. So this is another illustration. So you see all this gas coming from fire, cars, then industrial companies. They produce smoke, and some of them are trapped in here, and then they go back, and so it makes our earth hotter and hotter. So that is what we call as climate change. So it is said it's happening right now, and one of the main contributory factor is the traffic. What else? Okay. So another pillar is called economy. This is not much appreciated, but what is the point of traffic economy? It concerns with economic need of traffic management. So meaning we have benefited a lot from the motor vehicles that are on our road. However, it does not only affect our environment and doesn't only cause deaths due to accident, but it has also a direct effect to our economy. So there are many ways how to describe this one. So for example, what is the effect of traffic jam? If you are caught 2 hours on the road and you are receiving, let's say, 300 pesos per hour, and you're caught in the road for, let's say, 2 hours, that is already a loss of 600 pesos within 2 hours. That is one, monetizing the effect. Okay. Or the delay. For example, you are late because of traffic problems, so those are economic impact. Or you got sick because of the smoke, that is another one. And what else? If it destroys our river, it obstruct, it destroys our farms when you construct roads or something like that. So in general, are we actually benefiting from it? So that's traffic economy. Okay, we have another question here. It consists of the entire road and vehicle complex as well as traffic rules and regulations. So what is this? Consists of the entire road and vehicle complex. So meaning this is a system. It is a system that consists of the road itself and in the vehicles. How do you call this one? Right? So we call this one as the traffic system. So let's talk about these things. Okay. So wait, this is repeated. And just wait again, and wait. Something is wrong with my laptop. Okay, so how do you call this? We call this as major elements of traffic enforcement. So meaning there are things that must be present before there should be an enforcement of laws or rules and regulations. So what are they? Okay, so we have, first one is the enforcement system. What composes this enforcement system? It's already there. We have the legislative, and in the courts, of course, we have the police. So they are called enforcement system, meaning without them there will be no enforcement of traffic laws. So without the police, without the laws, if there are no legislators, there are no laws. But if there are no courts imposing those penalty, then it's not complete. So we call that as enforcement system. What else are the elements? We also have what we call as road user system. So from the road user, they are the one who is using the road. So without the pedestrian, without the cars, without the animals using the road, then there will be no enforcement. There's nothing to enforce. So road user system refers to those who are using the road. Okay, while the third one, is called yep, so very slow. So the traffic system, right? So meaning what is there in the road? You see, what do you see? You see traffic light, you see road, you see these rotunda or roundabout. So these are traffic system, the road itself, the traffic light, the pavement, right? So we call that traffic system. So those are the three elements, meaning without the user, what are the user? The cars, right? Traffic enforcer, that's another system. So enforcement system. So these are the three elements that composes enforcement system. So meaning without them, there will be no enforcement system. Right? What else? We have here also another question. This step determines the guilt or innocence of the accused. So it refers to the steps in or the process in which the rules will be applied. Okay, this step determines the guilt. So which one is that? Where the determination of the guilt or innocence of the offender will be decided. So is it penalization, prosecution, or adjudication, or detection? Of course, the answer is the adjudication. So you will notice that in criminal case we call it hearing or trial, but it's much lighter in as far as traffic violation is concerned, because mostly it's not intentional, it is accident. So what we do is we adjudicate. So it's not trial. And then, so what else are we gonna talk about? Okay, so these are the steps in the enforcement process, meaning what will you do when you enforce traffic rules. So first one is you move around, you look for what? Violations. So we call that as detection. You detect if there is any violation that took place in your area. So that's the first step. You detect, and then when you notice that there is a strong evidence that there is a violation, then what will you do? Okay, we apprehend. So the term again is lighter, is not arrest, but it is apprehension, because again it is not a criminal case where it is intentional. So apprehension is the much proper term. So you apprehend once you detect, and you apprehend, and then after you apprehend, what will you do next? What is next is to prosecute, right? If there is a strong evidence, then the case will be brought to the prosecutor's office, and then they will prosecute. So you understood this better in your law subjects. And once there is prosecution and then it went up, so we have now the adjudication. I've already mentioned this a while ago. It is where the case will be decided based on the evidences submitted. So it's like hearing or trial. And then once you found to have been guilty, then there will be penalization. All right, so those are the steps in enforcement process. So in order for us not to easy, okay, we can use an acronym. We have here DAPAP. First is detection, apprehension, then prosecution, and then adjudication and penalization. So you can use that so that you will not forget. Okay. Wow, I'm in trouble with my laptop, so sorry. So we have your questions here as part of our discussion. It says a means of having violators appear in court without physical arrest. So what is that? You will not physically arrest the suspect. Is that traffic arrest? Is that a citation, warning, or apprehension? What is the answer? Obviously, of course, we have the traffic citation. So what is traffic citation? Where you can bring somebody in court even without physically arresting him. So let's continue. What is that? Okay, so we have different kinds of traffic enforcement. So when you enforce, there are different kinds. So what are they? The first one is when there is strong evidence that there is a grave violation of our traffic rules in laws, then what will you do? Of course, you must apprehend or you must arrest. As I've said, apprehension is much better, but I use arrest because that's what we understand. So what will you do is apprehend, right? Kinds of enforcement. What else will you do aside from? Okay, hello. I just cut off my lecture because of so many data, and the time isn't enough last time. So let me continue from here, this third segment of my lecture for you. Remember that in the preceding slide, I was actually presenting to you that there are different kinds of enforcement action a law enforcer will do whenever there is a violation of our traffic rules. So the first one was simply arrest if the violation is already grave or extreme, such as reckless driving or life is already in danger. Then what you're going to do is to arrest them, especially if there is strong evidence. Now, the second enforcement that you can do is what we call as traffic citation. So what is this traffic citation? It is when you are going to simply give ticket. When there is violation and then you give them ticket, that's what we call as traffic citation. So however, there are different kinds of ticket that a law enforcer can give to any violator. So what are these tickets? Okay, so I have here a question for you. Oh, when a driver violates ordinances, what ticket will be issued? So such as the municipal ordinances or the city ordinances, like no parking violations, or simply not following the rules on no unloading and unloading zone. So if you are a law enforcer, what ticket are you going to issue to the violator? Of course, it depends, right? It depends because there are instances where both ticket, the TCT and TOP, can actually be issued because, as you know, some of our ordinances are also included already in the Republic Act 4136. So sometimes the law enforcers will be forced to choose which one would give the higher penalty if the driver is for example, the driver is hesitant, arrogant. The law enforcers sometimes they prefer to give a ticket that give higher penalty. So in the questions here, the answer here is the TCT. So take note of that. Any violation of the traffic municipal or any municipal ordinances rather, the TCT will be given ticket that is sometimes this actually giving a lesser penalty compared to the penalty given by the Republic 4136, right? So what is this TCT? Ticket that is given to a violator when ordinances of the city or municipality is violated, while the TOP, the temporary operators permit, are issued when the violation is Republic Act 4136, such as reckless driving, helmet violation, the also the non-use of the seat belt. Those are part of the national law, although there is a specific law for that. Okay, but TOP is still being issued for not using seat belt, and also in some cities or municipalities, they also made ordinances for that violation, so the TCT can also be issued for them. But that is the difference, huh? And TCT, this can be issued by the traffic enforcer or any of the police officer, while TOP, not anyone can issue it. Only LTO enforcers are qualified to issue this, but since they lack members or they are lacking of manpower, so they deputize law enforcers, some of the law enforcers, the policemen, or the traffic enforcers, meaning they will simply require some of the traffic enforcers and even police officers to undergo relevant seminars so that they can be given authority to issue temporary operators permit. While the other third type of ticket is TBR. So the TBR will be only given in Metro Manila. So if there is a violation of any ordinances there or any laws regarding traffic in Metro Manila, so they will give you TBR. So it's not TOP or TCT, and this is to be given by the Metro Manila Development Authority. So it's different. Okay, so that's it. And then what else? So that those are the three kinds of ticket that will be issued to any violators. Okay, so what else? Now for the TOP, in order to minimize possibilities of corruption, there are 4 copies that are actually always carried by enforcers. There is white color that will go to the LTO. There is blue color that will go to apprehending officer. There is yellow color that will go to the driver, the violator, and then there's pink color so that they will ensure that the amount paid will be audited. Then there should be also a copy to be given to the COA. So this is the different distribution of the temporary operators permit. And by the way, the TOP is valid within 72 hours. If you are given with this ticket, then you can use it for 3 days, but beyond that, it's already another violation. So if you were given like this, you better settle immediately before suspensions or additional penalty will be given to you. Okay, so that's it for the meantime, and prepare for the next segment.